There you go. She's all ready, Captain.
Thanks, Billy. Derry's not like any town I've ever been in before. People die or disappear 6 times the national average. And that's just grown-ups. Kids are worse. Way, way worse.
We all float down here.
I saw something. There was this...
A clown. Yeah, I saw him too.
Look. It's all connected by the sewers. That's where it lives. What happened? Bill?
Bill, if you'll come with me, you'll float too. You'll float too. You'll float too. You'll float too. You'll float too.
Hi, boys and girls. So, hi, cinephiles. Welcome to my movie review Monday. I absolutely love it. I'm going to start off saying that this is my favorite Funko Pop that I have. He's my best buddy. Pennywise is amazing. Pennywise, to me, is one of the coolest horror characters you will ever see. I'm a big fan of Tim Curry, too. I'm a big fan of the book. I'm a big fan of all of it. So obviously I was a little biased going in. Biased in a good way? No, actually. I was not biased in a good way for this movie, because you know why? I love Tim Curry. I love Tim Curry as Pennywise. The original movie to me, well, it wasn't a movie. It was a TV miniseries, which is something we all forget, I think. This movie, for those who don't know, the general summary of it is that it's a group of kids living in Derry, and Derry is kind of known for being a place where there are massive amounts of missing persons and massive amounts of child deaths, higher than normal for adult deaths too, but for children it's a lot worse, because what happens is there are certain times when an entity comes to life, and that entity feeds on children. Pennywise is our entity. Pennywise is an amazing character. He's creepy, and he plays off kind of as, if you're a fan of Harry Potter, he's almost like an extra horror version of a boggart. He takes on whatever you're most afraid of and just fucks with your head about it. Now, an interesting thing to note in this movie, this is a very gory, graphic movie. This is a hard R movie. An interesting thing to note is, in 2017 even, it's strange that there are so many things we allow on TV now, but movies still are hesitant to do certain things on film. One of those big things is, actually, the top 3 big things I find that movies don't really do so much anymore is they're very touchy on rape scenes. Understandable. I have no problem with that. There's almost no killing animals, because nobody's going to tolerate even fake animal death. And killing children. 3 things that they refuse to happen. Now, mind you, rape does not happen in this movie. There's no trigger warning for that. There's no animal murder in this movie. You're fine with that. There are child deaths, because that is what this movie is. This movie centers around kids. You're going to see kids dying, dead, things like that. It's gory, it's graphic. If you're not okay with that, don't see this movie. But it's funny in the sense that this is 2017. You would think this is kind of when we're willing to be more bold because we have the effects to do so. And I feel like it's odd that the time that has passed, they were more willing to do these graphic, dramatic things than they are now. This movie doesn't shy away from it, which to me is amazing. I don't love seeing like child deaths or anything on camera, but it's amazing to me that they're bold enough to do it, and it works because it's necessary for this. And then the original It as well was fine with doing that kind of thing, and that was a big thing I was concerned about. I didn't know if this movie was going to take it where it needed to go, if it was going to push those boundaries, and it did, which was amazing. Mind you, I can't talk too much about this movie. A big difference between this movie and all of our other movie reviews is this is still a new movie. I literally just went and saw it Friday when it came out. I saw it opening night. So, I mean, I can't tell you guys too much about this movie because I can't give away too much about this movie. If you read the books, you know a little bit what's going to happen, but even with the book, they take a few liberties with some things from the book, in a good way though. There's nothing wrong with this movie. Maybe some slight things, mostly cinematography wise, and a slight tinge of regret that I enjoy this Pennywise, but at the same time, I still miss Tim Curry's Pennywise. But whereas Tim Curry's Pennywise was kind of silly funny, this Pennywise is just actually, like, creepy, terrifying. This Pennywise is a flat out, like, no, you're fucking creepy. I don't know how any of the kids at any point think the clown is funny. I think there's one point when it happens, maybe another point. There's certain points where the clown, like, is supposed to be playing off funny, and I'm like, no, you're still creepy. And it's good. It's a good thing. My biggest way of describing it to people that I've been using is, if this had been the version of It that I saw as a child, rather than the miniseries, I probably would actually be scared of clowns now. Like, I know so many people who say that It inspired their fear of clowns. And it just made me, be inspired to love Tim Curry as an actor and love horror movies. But this It would have absolutely terrified me as a child. I got quite a few moments of genuine fear watching it as an adult. It's amazing, guys. And the soundtrack gets ridiculous at times, but you know what? It's a fun ridiculousness. It makes sense. It's not in a bad way. So, a big thing to compare is you can compare the movie to the book, and you're not going to be disappointed. Do me a favor, go into this movie, do not compare it to the original miniseries. And it was a miniseries, by the way, guys. It came out on DVD, was released on DVD as a 2-part movie thing, but this was a miniseries. The original one was on TV. This was never a film. So this is our first actual It film. This is our first It movie. So they can take liberties that the miniseries couldn't do, because it's not getting broadcasted for people to see on cable. This is something you had to pay to see that got a rating. So it was allowed to go where the other one couldn't go. And again, it stays pretty true to the adaptation that it's supposed to be based on. The original miniseries took a lot of liberties. Some good, some bad. I still love the original miniseries, but let's be honest, it wasn't really an adaptation of the book. Not in the big sense that it needed to be. This one is. This is a very good adaptation. It takes the liberties it needs to without destroying the source material, and the liberties it takes works for the format that it's going with. It works for everything. One thing I will say I absolutely missed, if you've seen the original miniseries, I will forever miss the asthma kid going, "This is battery acid!" That was a cool scene. I loved that. I loved that line, but I was willing to lose that line for a lot of the stuff that I gained. So definitely see this movie, guys. This is going to be a really short review because, again, I really can't do much with this. I don't have the best scene to show you. That trailer was like the shortest trailer I could find, and that was like 2 minutes. So, at the end of this, what we're actually going to do instead is I'm going to offer you up a little special treat. So, because I don't actually have any clips or trailers or anything to show you, what I did instead was, before I started recording this, I actually recorded for you guys how to do this. Is it fantastic? No, it's not. It's not my greatest. I admit that. But it's still fun. And it's really easy to do, actually. It's not anything massively difficult. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. You guys are free to watch, check it out, and feel free to do it yourself. Obviously, I don't have the wig or anything, so add to it as you will. I do mention in that video, but I want to mention it again. If you guys want to do the teeth that you noticed he has those huge buck teeth. Super simple to do. You don't have to get complicated. Go down to Party City. Go down to your local Halloween store. Buy those Nosferatu. It has to be the Nosferatu because it has to be the 2 front fangs. Get the Nosferatu dual fangs that you clip. Take a sander and just file down those points. File into a blunt tip. Put it in. Done. You're perfect. You're set to go. So, you guys have fun with it. Alright guys. So, how we're going to start this, first of all, make sure you have a clean face, always. Normally, I would recommend having your hair pinned back or something, but I'm feeling lazy, so I'm not going to. So what I have right here is just a basic primer, and we're just going to put this all on our face, and you want to make sure to get it everywhere that you're going to be painting on, because what this does is this is going to help you have an even canvas to work on. You know, kind of fills in all of those pores and everything. I use Maybelline Master Prime, but you pretty much get any primer, whatever primer works for you. This works well for my sensitive skin, but it's not absolutely necessary. What we also are going to do for this, because we need to do full face, is I'm actually going to use, I have this little like brow kit. I'm going to use the wax, and first just kind of use it to taper down my eyebrows, kind of smooth them out, make sure that they're sitting nicely, and then I'm actually going to take, I should have had it out before. So I'm going to actually then take my, I have some Bella Invisible powder. And, you know, you can use pretty much whatever. I know some people like to use, like, a spirit gum and then paint over it. I don't like putting spirit gum on my eyebrows, to be honest. Not if I can avoid it. So I just actually just use the invisible powder and kind of put it over to lighten them up just a tad. And then I also will sometimes take some, like, oh, and I don't have any. I seem to be out. Usually, though, I will also take a concealer and put it over. But for now, I'm really just lightening it up. I don't need it. My eyebrows are pretty dark, but this is also a really good body paint. So, speaking of, so one of the first things we're going to do then, obviously, now, my body paint is Paradise. This is made by Mayron. I love this body paint. It's a favorite of mine. You can use a stipple sponge. I'm cheap. I use just a cut up house sponge. You can do that. You're going to dip it in water a bit too, which is also nice. It soaks up water really well, so you don't need much water on these. And the nice part about this is that the Mayron body paint is water activated. So put a little bit of water on the sponge. It's going to soak up nicely. I can squeeze it into that. And we can just rub it on there. And it's still going to stay going on smooth. So see, got it right there. So you want to just blot all over. And the stipple sponge, it adds like a bit of texture, but also the nice thing is that it makes it go on faster. So, and it's hard because I have the camera over here, but my image is over here. So I'm trying to look back and forth and make sure that it's going on properly, the way that I want it to. So. And now I'm going to cover everything. And when I say everything, I literally mean like everything. So my eyelids are getting it, like eyebrows. Normally I would cover my ears for this kind of particular look of makeup, but I'm not going to today because we're doing it really simple. I don't even have a costume or a wig or anything, so. And we're even gonna go over our lips. Like, we're going over everything. And you definitely like how you see I got a little bit more white over here. You wanna like go over that again to make sure it blends with everything else. Because you don't want spots that are like too much whiter than the others. And there we go. So, with that, I'm just going to set that to the side. What do I do with my lid? There it is. I'm just going to set that to the side for now. And then, so you want that base. And another thing you can do, and always make sure you have your brushes nearby. Because it just makes it easier if anything else. What we're also going to do here, I'm actually going to do the gray so it doesn't show up quite as much. I'm just going to take a small, very small, soft brush, and I'll just put it in there a bit. And I feel like I'm actually going to, you're going to see me actually like double up with my cameras, because I'm going to use my phone camera, so that way I have a kind of selfie image to see what I'm doing with that one. But so what I like to do is go like this, and you're just going to just slightly in the corners. You want to get where your laugh lines are, and that'll make it like emphasize then when you do the grin. And you can pat it because you don't want it to be really obvious, you just want it to be like a subtle thing. And you'll see it's really blotchy too with the white. It is supposed to be that way. We want our I'm gonna go over my eyebrows again actually, but we want our white body paint to be a little blotchy right now, because the way Pennywise looks in the movie, it's not clean. This is not clean body paint. So splotchiness works in this situation. And then for our next step, we need a little bit thinner of a brush. We'll go over it probably a little thicker, but this is all you need. A little thin brush. And we'll use our Mayron black body paint, which also is water active. They all are. So, and I'm just going to kind of, again, because this is a really thin brush, I don't need to do much effort to get this covered in the paint. And again, you're going to see me using my phone, but that's why you have a better image. So, normally, you do a way better job covering up the eyebrows, but again, we're going simple today because this is just a simple thing. And you want to go thin with this at first, so you can make sure you get it right. So we're going to start right at the center where like the eyebrow bone would be. You want to do this really dramatic eyebrow line. here, and I know sometimes it's hard to get them, yeah, see, like I didn't even get it even. But I know it can be hard to get it even, have them matching at times. And that's okay though. Again, this is the nice thing too about it is once you figure out the shape you like, you can kind of go over it. Like, see, I like that a lot better. So what I can do, if you really want to, if you're really unhappy like I am, if you're really unhappy with the eyebrow line, what you can do honestly is take a regular brush, do that in paint again. We're going to go back to our white body paint and get some of that white body paint on a regular brush. Not the stipple sponge, the regular brush. And you can just go back over the line you originally made. And it's like it never was there. Just goes away. Now, do I like making mistakes? No, I don't like making mistakes. Especially not while we're recording. But you know, when you're trying to do something new, mistakes happen. And I actually like showing you guys what you can do to fix those. So you know, you don't have to start over every time, especially when you're using body paint like this. Because it can get done over really well. So go back over this line, and that's also why there, see, it's also another reason why you start off with a very thin line, because you start off with a very thin line of makeup and you can fix those. If you were to start with like this initial brush that we're going with, it's not too much thicker, but it is still thicker, it would make it a lot harder for you to fix any little detail mistakes. Any things you want to reshape or anything like that becomes so much harder because it is still a water-based body paint, and so it's still movable as far as like painting over it. It's not easily done once the lines get really thick like this. So see, I like it really thick, I like it really obvious with that clown makeup. So then we also are going to take our thin brush, and the other thing we're going to do with our thin brush, we're going to go back to it. We're going back to our thin brush, we're going to dip it again. You have to dip it in water a lot, which is nice, I think. I like dipping it in water a lot because I feel like then I'm less likely to make a mistake. I get a new set of paint on my brush every time, and if you roll it in the body paint as well, you kind of keep that fine point. So then what we're going to do is we're going to go to the inside right here, and we're going to do like these little faint lines. And then you're going to actually pat at it with your finger and make it a little messy. It's going to kind of become a shadow. That's essentially what you want. You want it to be this like little shadow, but like that. You want it to be these little lines and these little shadows. And essentially it's going to look like kind of darker spots in the inside of your nose. And you can just pat those. And then the next part we're going to do is still using black, because you want to paint under your eye like a really thick eyeliner line. And this is not a beauty makeup eyeliner line, by the way. Because remember, this is a psychotic clown. We're going to go up a little cat eye, because he kind of has that. He has that slight cat eye. And we want to make this kind of thick, though. Now, the other thing to notice, I don't know if you've seen the movie yet. If you haven't seen the movie yet, this doesn't affect anything. But so I'm not ruining anything for you. But he does have I found my red eyeshadow. But Pennywise does have kind of reddish eyes, kind of tired. So what we're also going to do is we're going to take like a good shade for us to use. It's not a good shade. This might be the best shade. Okay, we can work with this. You can find really like any pinkish red eyeshadow. Besides this, just basic pink. This is really cheap. This is just literally like a cheap CoverGirl one. And we're going to take a small brush, obviously one that does not have body paint on it yet. We're not doubling up on body paint. It's a little soft. Make sure it is a soft brush too. You don't want it stiff. We're going to just do that. And once again, I'm playing on my phone because it's a little bit closer. I'll get close. We'll go like that, and we're just going to go kind of on the top of our eyelid a bit. We're going to go a little bit on the top of the eyelid just to kind of add that reddish shade, like that tired. You can even go a little bit on the black. Just know you might get black body paint on your brush. If it hasn't dried yet, which I didn't use much, so mine's dried, but I kind of had under there. I have plenty of dark circles though. I don't need help. So then the extra fun part. Then what we're going to do, still want a small brush. You can actually even use the one that you used for your eyebrow, so long as it is properly wiped off. Obviously, you don't want to be mixing colors. Or maybe you do. I don't know what shade of red you have. My red that I have is a pretty good dark red. This is a really good, like, dark red. Some people get a really bright red. That would work for, like, a clown, but it doesn't really work for this. It doesn't work for this particular clown. This is Pennywise. This isn't a normal clown. So first what we do with our red, we're going to just go over obviously, messy, yes. Make it messy, make it exaggerated. Just go over the general shape of your mouth. Again, it does not have to be perfect, because what we're going to do is we're going to exaggerate the Cupid's bow a bit. I need more water on mine. But we're going to end up exaggerating the Cupid's bow. So those top parts of your mouth, it's okay for it to be messy, you want, because you're going to bring it up. And the underside also. You're going to bring it down. So you want it to be a little thicker than your actual mouth. I'm probably bumping the mic, I apologize. And for this as you'll see, as you saw in the trailer, he has the red marks going up. So that's what we're going to do. And that's all we have to do. We literally just follow the corners of our mouths, and you can even use those laugh lines we did earlier. You can use those as a sign of where to go, because you want the red mark to go through those lines. So go like this. Okay. Obviously, again, I did not do it very thick. I did not do it very deep. Again, we want this because we want to be able to fix it if anything goes wrong. There we go. And that's the thickness I want on this line. And I did get a little bit off that I didn't want, so I'm going to end up going over that with the white again. And so then you want to continue that line. So you're going to close your eye, and you want to continue that line right there. And bring it up as well. And you bring it all the way up. And I have a feeling, I'm pretty sure that my Cupid's bow is off. I'm going to adjust it a bit. It's really hard to do on a phone. I usually prefer to have like my big camera and like a big mirror I can look in, and I did not do that this time. So we're going to go with our other line. And bring it all the way up. And as I did say, we're going to go back over that white so I can fix that one spot as well. There we go. And we actually can fix some of it where it's not splotching, it just looks messy. And we can even fix the outline of our mouth as well. And then you want to go back to your sponge. Now, this time though, get your sponge nice and coated in white. And it should still be wet because it's a sponge. You're going to get this nice and coated in white. Then what you're actually going to do, I know I said we don't do this. Try and take the side that doesn't have so much white. You're going to put that into the black. That keeps like the black and white from getting mixed in the body paint. But then because it's a sponge, the nice thing is we can curve it. We're going to smush it together on the sponge. So we get this nice gray. You also could just, buy gray body paint. But, yeah, if you don't have any gray body paint, you want to just go ahead and do it. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take this gray and go in the center of our eyebrows. Just a bit, because it is really dark, as you can see. We're going to go over our eyelid a bit, You want to go on the cheekbones. Okay. I actually just take a dry one then, because I can use that to blend it a little better. So, there we go. And the final touch. This one you need a bit of a bigger brush for. And you're going to put this in the water, get it on the red, and So now the trick with this, especially too, you want to do upward strokes, because of the way his nose is, it does have like that brushed top look. So you want to get that. You want to get those ending brush strokes. And there we have it. And a cool thing you can do too is if you wanted to add to it, if you wanted the you could obviously get the contacts, which would add to it a lot. You also, if you want to do his buck teeth that you see that he has, a cool thing you can do is just purchase those basic Nosferatu fangs that clip just to your front teeth, and then just take a file and file down the points, and then you get this nice blunt set of front teeth that can clip to your teeth. It doesn't damage or anything. I love using those things. They're cheap, and you can get them at any Party City, but they're nice. So, we have all our gear. We're all set. Now, I do wish I had the wig, but I don't. But it's still fun. And this is obviously for the 2017 It. So, you can easily just buy like a clown costume and just make it look dirty. And that's going to be it for clothing. So, hope you guys enjoyed the movie review. Hope you enjoyed this. I might do a more detailed tutorial later. Detailed as in find a mirror to put up so I can do it a little better for you guys. But either way, it's still fun. And with that, you guys have a good night. I will see you tonight. I think we're going to finish out Alice in Wonderland tonight, so keep an eye out for it. And also, don't forget, we all flip down here. Have a good night, guys.